Okay, welcome everyone to the first episode of the Running Out of Time podcast, where I talk to you guys while I'm going for a run, and I'll be talking about topics to do with my work, my mental health, my routine, just things happening in the world, and we're just going to see how it goes. I had this idea for a minute, and I just want to give it a go. So as the first episode, I apologize for any, mistakes. I'm not very good at talking to the microphone. I don't talk much. Actually, do I talk a lot? I don't know. But I'm interested to give this a go and see how it goes. And I'm going to be getting very tired. I'm planning on going for a 30 to 45 minute run. That's how long I want the podcast to be. So we'll see how it sounds by the end. But I don't know. It might add a bit of spice, to the podcast. So we'll see. I'm just going to have a conversation with you guys while I'm running. I wrote down a few things that I wanted to talk about. Just need to find it. Can't remember where I put it. Oh yeah. So, man, the last 24 hours has been crazy because I wrote down an agenda of things that I wanted to talk about today. And in the last 24 hours, it's been crazy because I found out that Kobe Bryant was in a helicopter accident. And that was just really shocking. I was actually, as horrible as it is, it's hard to feel much when, you didn't really know the person, or if it was a celebrity, you feel something, but I was surprised by how much I felt when I heard about the news, and I was trying to understand why. There's a few things that I've known him for years because my brother used to be really big into basketball when we were younger. I used to play basketball as well, and he was just one of the, he was one of the 5 names that you'd mention when it comes to basketball. He was one of the greats, so I definitely knew his name, knew what he looked like, and that he played for the Lakers and all that for a very long time. But I also was quite impacted by him at about mid last year, or late to mid last year. I listened to the podcast he did for Lewis Howes. So just a bit of context, I do editing for Lewis Howes. I'm part of his editing team. They help him with his podcasts and creating promos and stuff. And he interviewed Kobe Bryant. I actually don't know when the interview was, but I think it was over a year ago. But I ended up listening to it just because I was interested. And it was really, really fascinating. Lewis does a good job, I feel of interviewing celebrities, but really getting inside their mind and understanding how they think, and I really resonate with that kind of stuff. And he spoke a lot about different things, but there was this one moment that really resonated with me because I was kind of going through a shift at the time that I listened to it, where I was trying to find what my purpose and meaning was, and what direction I was going in life, and what I was really passionate about. And Kobe Bryant talked a lot about storytelling, and the word storytelling was kind of a buzzword that I was thinking about at the time with the work that I was doing and the kind of impact I wanted to make and the skills that I have, and how I can apply that. And I kind of decided that I wanted to become a better storyteller. And when he was talking about storytelling, this big basketball player, this, world renowned, I was kind of, I was surprised because the things that he was saying were so valuable and made so much sense. He said the reason he loves basketball is because he loves storytelling. And it was really interesting to just hear his perspective on that. And so that just kind of helped me cement my thoughts and my feelings about storytelling and what I wanted to be doing. And so, that kind of left a bit of an impact on me. And when I heard that he passed, that was the first thing I thought about. And it just kind of left me with like a sinking feeling because I didn't realize, he was at this stage in his life, he'd focused more on building out like a production company that funded and produced TV shows and films and podcasts, and he had all these creative projects happening and books as well. And he also, I believe, won an Oscar. I don't know exactly what the Oscar was for, but for the short film that he did called Dear Basketball. And you should definitely check it out. It's a beautiful short film. It's 5 minutes long. That's drawn by one of Disney's ex-animators. I can't remember his name either. But it's a really powerful short film that he wrote, a kind of a love letter to his passion of basketball. And it was really well done. So you should definitely check it out. So in terms of me and deciding that I wanted to pursue storytelling and kind of agreed to focus on that, he did stand out as someone that I wasn't expecting to be kind of motivated by and inspired by as a storyteller, but he really did. And I'm just, I guess, sad that he's gone. And it's such a tragic way to go, and his daughter as well. I just want to pay my respects, I guess, and just feel that we've lost someone that's really valuable and who was trying to impact the world in as many ways as he could. So and just on that as well, because I work for Lewis House, I knew he did this podcast. I kind of went back this morning and looked at the podcast again, and then made a short little asset with just my favorite moment from the podcast, and I sent it to Lewis and the team, and I wonder if they'll post it or not. But for me, it was like a nice, is the right word cathartic? I don't know. Maybe it was like, for me, that was a good chance to just soak in what value he's made on me and the impact he's made, and a chance for me to just kind of like move on. It's funny because I was thinking about it as well, and I had the same kind of reaction to when Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park passed away or committed suicide. That really kind of made me feel the same way as I did with this. Just like a complete shock, and just kind of trying to process the emotions that I'm feeling. And actually, I tried to make an asset back then when Chester passed away, but I didn't end up making anything because I didn't have a strong enough idea. I was doubting myself too much. But I'm glad I've made something and, just put something out there. I'm going to probably post the essay that I made onto my social media. But I was glad that I actually created something from that. I think that's something I want to do more of is create because it feels right and because I feel like there's something to say and there's something that I'm passionate about talking about, and kind of putting out in the world. And just like this, I know it's a horrible situation, but I wonder if I can just kind of really focus on those feelings that I'm feeling and make sure that I create something in the future that happens and that makes me feel that way as well. So yeah, that was just the last 24 hours for me. And I think that's another reason why I want to do this podcast regularly, a couple times a week at least, because I want to talk about current events and things that are happening and just have an outlet that I don't know, I can keep my thoughts going as things are happening, because I do really like to have the opportunity to talk about what I'm feeling and what's happening in the world and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of another reason why I want to do this, because I want to capture the way that I'm feeling in this moment, because time just kind of slips away and I like to reflect on what's going through my mind and how I'm feeling about things, because I want to grow and I want to learn and I want to look back on, a year later, I want to look back on today and remember how I was feeling and just kind of put a pin on that time in my life so that I can see the progress I've made. And yeah, so that's the thing. That's the Kobe situation. Yeah, so there's a lot that I want to talk about, but what I might do is in future episodes, I'm going to talk about one specific thing in a lot of detail, just to keep it, I guess, relevant so that you know what you're clicking into to listen to. I don't want to cover too many topics, but I think for this first podcast anyway, I'm going to need to jump around a lot. And as I get a feel for what I want to talk about, I need to give like a good overview of the situation and everything that's going on. So I thought I'd just briefly talk about my work and what I do and just kind of introduce myself, just so that I don't have to worry about doing that later on. I can get deeper with you guys. So I work as a content creator. That's what I kind of label myself as nowadays. I love to produce videos and stills and GIFs and texts, assets for social media. I think that's a really interesting space. It's growing, it's evolving, and there's a lot of people that I'm inspired by that create similar content and that have their own styles, and that's definitely the space that I'm in at the moment. I feel like there's so many different jobs and careers that exist now in this space, whether it's, you're solely an event videographer, or you just do weddings or corporate videos. Now companies are hiring in-house content creators, or if you're a social media manager and you take pictures and video as well. There's so many overlapping areas in this industry now, and there isn't really a clear path. So I guess I'm kind of freelancing, trying to find opportunities wherever I can. And it's just kind of been my evolution since I started doing this in about 2013. It's just kind of evolving as my skills are getting better, as I'm getting like new equipment, and as different opportunities are making me understand different areas that I can go into and what areas are, beneficial and paying well. So yeah, I work as a content creator. At the moment, my main work is with a company called Fresh, and it's a food content agency. So we produce Tasty, if you know Tasty on Facebook, it's like recipes, fast-paced recipes that show you how to create, certain dishes and things that are trending or popular, whether it's like tied with a season or popular ingredient. So I help produce food content for that, and like short 1-minute videos, and also take photography for the recipes, and also work with the social media manager there and create content that's just create like repurposing content so that it's relevant again, or creating creative little pieces of content like little boomerangs or GIFs that can be used in Instagram stories, and just really creating as much content as I can, to the highest quality. But it's a very fast-paced environment, and that is kind of my full-time job, but it is still contract-based. But I'm really happy I found that. I've been working for them for a year now, and yeah, it's been really good. I've learned a lot. It's great working with a team and not just being on my own. So I can actually bounce ideas off the food stylist and, have another content creator to bounce ideas off and get support from. I think that's really something that I've appreciated in the last year, is just feeling a part of a team and just having a place to go to every day and not just feel like I'm floating around on my own. So yeah, it was good. And I definitely think that's wherever I go in the future, that's the kind of environment I want to be in, is like a team-based environment. I'm not really interested in staying on my own and floating around to different clients. But anyway, so that's one client. I'm also working for, as I mentioned earlier, Lewis Howes, to create podcast content and promos, and I'm really enjoying that. What's nice about that is I can do that work anywhere, as all the files are sent like over the internet, and I can just work wherever I have an internet connection, and that's been good. It's not as much as a team environment, but it's still something that's consistent, which I really appreciate, which I feel like is hard to find in this industry. So yeah, there's those two. I've also just started working with a client called Notion. Now, I'm still trying to understand exactly what it is that they, like how to sell them in a sentence, because they do a lot, but it's pretty much a company which offers services and locations and events and places for people to market themselves in the construction industry. So they're all about bringing architects and developers and contractors together, I believe, to kind of give them one place to feel like a community and to help facilitate deals and communicate between them, in a space that really values them and helps to promote them. So they have like an event space, and they have online service, a I think it's like a social network for the construction industry, for people to communicate and promote their business and things like that. So they're still kind of growing. They've just launched really at the end of last year. But I'm helping them. First, I helped them with just like an event highlight video of them announcing that their new company is arriving and what it's all about. And now I'm helping them with just social media content to help them kind of populate their pages and stay relevant. And I'm also going to be helping them with future events, things like that. So that's more of your typical like contract content creator type job where it's not full time. It's only maybe once a month, like a few days a month or one day a week max. So that's nice. It's nice to have. It's nice to meet new people. That's why I love doing what I do is I get to meet new people. I get to learn about a new industry. I get to really, challenge myself and that's what I love to do. I think if I start to get bored or if I stop innovating and thinking of new ideas, then I look elsewhere. And that's why I think wherever I go, I want to be in a place that I can become better at my craft and propose new ideas. As the industry is evolving, as social media is changing, it's just a very exciting space. For example, TikTok, coming up out of nowhere, and how many eyeballs are on that now, and then just trying to think of ways to put a company or a brand on that platform in a really relevant way to that platform. I love doing that, and I love creating fast turnaround content that's being reactive to what trends are happening, what's happening in the industry. Okay. Probably tell I'm getting a bit tired, but I think I'm over halfway there now. I've got this route that I run that I'm going to be recording the podcast every time. It's a little estuary run that goes about 7 to 8 Ks from my house, and I'm just going to be running this. It takes me about half an hour, 45 minutes, and that's why I'm just recording this now as I'm running around. So yeah. Anyway, what's next? This probably sounds terrible, but it feels good for me to just put my thoughts out there, because usually I just consume podcasts or listen to music, and I think that's fine, but I'm finding myself, consuming so much that I'm running out of podcasts to listen to, and I'm getting sick of my music, and I just feel like I need to have more of a balance where I'm actually producing something that's valuable, and I felt like this might be a good time. So the fact that I'm heavy breathing right now while I'm talking it's probably a huge distraction, but part of me feels like it's different. It's a differentiator and sets me apart from any other podcast out there. But it also kind of adds an element, and you can tell that I'm getting really tired and working really hard, and that's why I've called the podcast Running Out of Time, because this is me just wanting to push myself to be as great as I can be and do as much as I can in the hours that I'm awake. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, if I can keep it up. But I'd love your support if you're listening to this, however you found out about it. I just want to have something that I'm putting out there several times a week so that I can keep myself accountable, keep myself in check with how I'm feeling and the things that are happening, and just, I guess, saying things out loud so that I just want to solidify myself into what I believe in and the path that I'm hoping to take. And I almost see me talking like this as very therapeutic and very just kind of reassuring to the way that I feel, because I have so many thoughts in my head that just things that like excite me that I think about and I just don't do anything about. And I'm hoping that I can create an outlet to start putting what I am thinking out into the world and just to help manifest those into real life. Because I feel like I'm just hiding behind, my thoughts and not really producing anything or getting anywhere. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Anyway, getting very off track, getting very tired. So I apologize for all the tangents. But that's also something I hope to overcome, is just me being able to keep a train of thought and stick to a story, and just know that today is not one of those days. I'm just getting comfortable with this process, seeing how it goes. So yeah. Next thing I want to talk about are, so those are my main clients that I work with. I also do other freelance work, like the odd jobs here and there. But those three things that I mentioned are my I guess bread and butter right now. They're my main clients. So yeah, now you know. Okay, excuse me. So next thing I want to talk about, I mentioned TikTok just before. I just want to mention, just because it's relevant, that Byte has just come out, which is one of the Vine co-founders' new app, which is pretty much a Vine 2.0. So it's like a short 6-second looping video platform. And that came out like over the weekend. I think it was out of its beta. I think it's been in beta for the last few months, but it's now open to the public. So I secured a name on there called Carl Edmund, which, I don't know, I'm struggling with a short form piece of content, but it exists and it's something to keep an eye out on. What I think is interesting is that is Byte and TikTok aren't really competitors, because TikTok, I feel like, offers a huge range of creative potential. It's already got a consumer base, whereas Byte, I feel like, is very simple. You can't really remix, or you can re-Byte, which is like retweeting someone else's clip. Otherwise, I feel like it's very dumbed down compared to what TikTok has become with its audio, its editing capabilities and effects and all that. So it's interesting. But it's also interesting because TikTok is a Chinese company, and that concerns a lot of people. And TikTok isn't monetizable yet, as far as I'm aware. And if they were monetizable, I think that they'd run into a lot of copyright issues, because so much of the music is copywritten. The music that becomes popular and becomes trends, it's a messy situation, I feel, if the company starts to try to make money from it. So I don't know how they're going to figure that out, but it's an interesting place to look at. It's a Chinese company, whereas Byte is an American company, and that might give them a lot more opportunities and freedom to become monetizable and build a community on there. You don't actually make a living off it, but who knows? Who knows how they're going to integrate ads? Who knows if Instagram are going to copy their features and try to shut them down? Who knows? It's an interesting space to look out for and see where it heads in the next few months. So yeah, there's a few topics that I really love. One of them is like, they say, in the realm of storytelling, I think films are one, TV is one, Netflix, and then music is another, and then like online content. I feel like they're all different mediums to tell stories, and I'm constantly inspired by and taking note of different things that I've seen or heard that inspire me. And I think this is a good outlet for me to just talk about those things while they're relevant and see, just how that changes over time and how my opinions change over time. So, talking about music, I think over the weekend, I didn't watch it, but I think the Grammys happened, and I saw a headline that said that Billie Eilish won 4 of the top Grammy Awards. Like, she was one of 2 people that have won all 4 of the biggest awards in one night. And I think that's Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Artist of the Year, and something else. And apparently Adele is someone who's achieved those 4, but over several years. So a lot of people aren't happy because they feel like it wasn't deserving that she got all the awards, even though they do agree that she's talented, that she shouldn't have taken all of the awards because of how it wasn't a unanimous decision, that she completely changed the landscape of music last year. That's what I've heard. My opinion is that I think her music's great. I've really connected to it, and I feel like it's been the music that her and her brother Phineas have produced have been really powerful. And I felt that way before the awards. And also heard a few weeks ago that she was chosen to create the theme song for 007, for the next 007, and in turn has become the youngest person to create that track. And so she's doing amazing in terms of her accolades and awards. She's doing so well. And some people are talking about like what's next because of so much pressure on her now. But what I saw that was interesting, and this is what's tying it back to, I guess me, is that people are saying that she's she's relatable to how Lorde came up. And Lorde is from New Zealand, she's from Auckland, she's from 20 minutes from where I live. And when she was nominated for Album of the Year, and I think got Best New Single or Best New Artist Award, she was only 17 or 18 as well. And she kind of shook the world, and especially New Zealand, she made New Zealand proud. And I loved her music. It was very like emotional and just very deep, and that's the kind of music I like, that vibe. And people were saying how she kind of went quiet for a few years and then produced an album, and then wondering how Billie Eilish is going to produce her next album, and if she's going to go quiet for a few years and kind of wait for the pressure to die down so that she can really be creative, or if she's going to fall into the trap of just producing as much as she can until she burns out and telling stories that aren't, close to her heart, but in turn just to produce music and get those deals and make that bank. So I'm interested to interested to see where she goes in the next few years and if her music develops and how it develops. The music industry is changing a lot, and so it's an interesting space to look at. So next is I just want to talk about another platform. I've almost run out of time. I've almost arrived back home. But one thing that I've, for some reason, consumed a lot of lately is Twitch streamers. And this is something I've never really done. I've been watching YouTube since like 2005, since I was a kid, and I've kind of seen it evolve over the years into what it is now. And I still find value in YouTube. But Twitch has been something that I've seen headlines about, and like Ninja last year really changed the game in terms of esports, and it's definitely an area that I've kept an eye on. But I found myself just being so interested in watching Dr. Disrespect on Twitch. One, because I just love his brand and his personality, and watching him play first-person shooters, which is what I love to play. And there's also a new game that's just kind of come out called Escape from Tarkov that a lot of the big streamers are playing. And that's been really interesting to watch because they're all learning a new game, new mechanics, new everything. It's really a game that's been kind of built from the ground up. And if you're interested in first-person shooters at all, you should definitely check it out, because I think they're doing it differently than a lot of games trying to become popular now, especially in the battle royale genre. I think they've done a good job of doing it different, but being still interesting to streamers who are playing these games. So a few streamers that I've watched, I'm just kind of educating myself at the moment of who's top and who's the biggest streamer at the moment, and understanding between Mixer and Twitch, and seeing Ninja and Shroud on Mixer. And then on Twitch you've got Summit, 1G, and Dr. Disrespect, and Tfue, and those are like the biggest ones that I've seen regularly, that I've watched on the platform. And like Tfue, I don't know, Tfue. I've seen him over the weekend. He played Escape from Tarkov for the very first time, and it's really interesting to see him learn about the mechanics and have his community explain to him how things are done, and because it's a very complex game. It's like nothing is explained to you, and I think that's what a lot of the fun has been, is that people need to figure out the way the game works and how certain things are done through communication, not through reading an instruction manual. So that's been really interesting to watch. And I heard something the other day that it cost $2,000 the game, and I thought that was crazy. And then I thought about it, and I thought that was very smart, just because all these streamers are now playing it and they're investing into it, and it's like a 200%, not 200, it's like 2,000% more expensive than, not 2,000, yeah, it's like 200% more expensive than, I don't know, my maths isn't good right now. It's just really expensive compared to your normal game that you'd invest money into. So that's going to be an interesting space to watch and to see how it evolves, and if it does make a profit. So yeah, that's just a little note on something that's on my mind. And I think that about wraps it up. There's a few more things I wanted to talk about, but I'll keep those for the next one. Thank you for listening to this first episode of Running Out of Time. And I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you liked anything, if the audio was too jarring and you couldn't pay attention to what I was saying, maybe you're getting impatient because I was taking so long to deliver sentences. Maybe it motivated you to go out for a run. I'd love to know, because this is all very new to me. I'm just going to try to keep up a consistent upload for myself. And I hope if you listen to this, that it was valuable in some way. So please comment, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Carl Edmund. Let me know there what you thought. I'd love to know and continue the conversation and grow this podcast with you. So yeah, thanks for watching. Listening. There's nothing to watch yet. That's something I have an idea for, but for a later time. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Cheers.